Okay, I'm here in the adjunct's office, if you will, with Zia, and here's the Scorpion Man, and so we're going to talk about what's of interest to him. He has just watched the video and is familiar with our nomenclature of untreated or marble or nose or foot painted as the four groups of collections that he ran, but I'm sure he has some favorite questions that he'd want to answer. So Zia, would you want to explain to the students the things that are of interest to you?
Yeah. Hey, class. How you guys doing? I'm glad you guys work in data. Another colleague of mine, a chemist. My primary concern is the sensory ecology. In other words, can these scorpions use the scent to detect predators and avoid predators? I mean, it makes sense. If you can avoid a predator, you're not going to get eaten, right? That's the best defense mechanism you can have. So one of the primary questions I wanted to ask is, can these guys detect the odor of a predator and avoid the area where the predator is present? The other question is, there's a set of hairs found on one of their pinchers. It's called constellation array. Don't worry about the terminology. But I'm hypothesizing that this hair, they use it in a way to detect the chemicals. Think of them as their nose, right? Insects have their antennae. These guys have these hairs on their pinchers that they can use to detect the predator odor. Hence the two other experiments where I painted over it using a non-toxic nail polish, and another group I just painted the forearms or think of the leg. That's the control to make sure the paint is not affecting them. So those are the two primary questions: that can they detect predators, and does the hair on their pinchers play a role in allowing them to detect the predator's odor?
Okay, Zia, so in terms of the groups, what would you think would be a primary test to run to answer some of your questions?
I think the first test that the students should run is there a difference in the group that are untreated? I mean, unaffected scorpion and it's exposed to a predator. Are they able to avoid the predator? And it'll be interesting to see if that is different. Oh, actually, backtrack. So that's one. Number two, what happens if I paint it? Can they detect a predator? So that's another separate test that the students should be running. And it'll be interesting if they compare the two to each other. The untreated scorpion versus the treated scorpion. How the data relates to each other.
Yeah,
so
that's a more interesting question. And anybody that can figure that one out, well, let me talk about that in a moment. It's something that we haven't talked about in class, but it's testing in strata, and it's called the Cochran-Mantel hazing test. If you look it up and actually perform it, you'll get extra credit. But for the most part, I want two write-ups, one that answers one of the questions of interest that he mentioned, the other one that would answer the other question of interest. And if you put some more effort into it, that's just fine. The other thing to note is that you can talk to Zia. Now you know what he looks like, and he can help you out with the ideas. And now the process is in your hands. Write it up. Spelling counts. I want to have the null and the alternate hypotheses posted, as we discussed in class, in your write-ups. Write-ups have to be readable enough for your mother to understand. So that's your challenge. Okay.
can I add something?
Certainly.
My office is HS164, HS164. I'm there Mondays from 10 to 1 o'clock in the morning, and Tuesday, Thursdays from 9 to 10. You're more than free to drop by, no appointment needed, and I can answer all your questions, except for giving you the answer to the statistics. Take care, guys.
All right.
And gals.
Now turn it off.
Peace in the